before. So this is studies, again, that were done by Nathan Fox and Chuck Nelson and Charlie Zena, who's a child psychiatrist at Tulane, in this Bucharest study, where they looked at children who were in orphanages, severely neglected, and then placed into foster care, trained foster families at different times of their life. So when they tested the children at 3.5 years of age, and on the bottom you see 0 to 18, 18 to 24, 24 to 30. That's the age when the infant was placed into a foster home. So 0 to 18 months means that they were in the orphanage the shortest period of time, and they were neglected, believe me. I'm not showing you pictures today. 30 plus months means that they spent more time in the orphanage. So if they test them at 3.5 or 4.5 years, their IQ or their development quotient is in the normal range if they were taken out of the orphanage and put into a foster home. 18 to 24 months, not bad, they're still pretty close. So with the first 2 years of life, getting them out of that neglect situation and into a positive environment seems to do okay. Look what happens when they've been in for 24 to 30 months. Now when you look at these two scores, IQ and development quotient, they're below the norm. So the longer we delay, we can see that there's a critical period, a sensitive period of time. After 2 years, it starts getting more difficult to remediate this in situations of severe neglect. And then plus 30 months, really terrible outcomes. Now, these are just these two domains, development quotient and IQ. But when I talk to legislators, I say, okay, do you want to take a chance on other aspects that haven't been looked at here? I say, well, you know, maybe they can adapt in other parts of them. You know, maybe they'll be okay here and here. I said, maybe not. But these are powerful data that suggest that starting early, investing early, remember that disconnect graph that I showed you? Reversing it makes a lot of sense. I'm almost done. So, how should we act on the science? Here's the take-home message. Jack will kill me if I don't say this. The basic principles of neuroscience, what I study, indicate that later remediation will be more costly than preventive intervention in the first years of life. We already know that. Brains. More physiological energy needed to compensate for poorly formed neural circuits. When you look at somebody who's performing a certain task, they do the task as well as their counterpart. Let's say this person has been severely abused or neglected, and they have cognitive learning problems as well. They can do the task, but when you look at the amount of energy it takes to do that task, it's unbelievable, like 3 or 4 times more. So they can do it, but sooner or later they're going to have problems because they just cannot maintain that level of activity in order to just keep up. The brain just gives up. It can't maintain it. Higher costs for remedial education, clinical treatment, crime. Keep in mind all those health disparities as well that I talked about. Cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. It's not just about mental health, it's about the health of the entire individual, and it's for a lifetime. And if we want to be transformative, we have an opportunity to be transformative. Investing now, early, in all of the programs that you do makes sense scientifically. There's no doubt about it. Think broadly about a child's environments and relationship. Plan for pregnancy to kindergarten. Look beyond education and healthcare. I'm a big fan of home visitation. Prenatal care is so important. The brain and the whole body start developing early, right? During embryonic and fetal development. And that's if you start then and start with mom and dad, hopefully, on a course of understanding building these relationships early before birth, things are just going to work out much better after birth. Invest in the development and retention of a skilled early childhood workforce. Can I hear a round of applause for that? My wife is out in Los Angeles now, and she's not teaching anymore, but she taught for 25 years. We've been married 33 years. We got married when I was 9. By the way. Yeah, she's taught everything from early childhood, pre-K, all the way up through all the way up through 8th grade. And, so she supported me when I went to graduate school, and when I was a postdoc at Yale, just being at Yale should have been enough, as they told me, so I made a whopping $10,000 a year. And so she supported me, but, it was tough, really tough, because, I saw firsthand that what's needed in terms of being great in academics and in education and in childcare early, we have everything flipped around, and we have to change that. I proselytized, I apologize. So we want to make sure vulnerable children have access to stable, supportive relationships. I can't overemphasize this. This is really critical. It's not just about mom or dad. It's about the community as well, recognizing their responsibilities, and it's better for the community. Frankly, I think that's, North Carolina is just amazing. Been way ahead of the curve. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I've said that in Tennessee, where Tennessee is thankful we have Alabama and Mississippi. I don't want to offend anybody. But, there are places that are behind the curve. I'm from New Jersey. We're really behind the curve. North Carolina has been way ahead of the curve in understanding that this investment has built an incredible infrastructure that attracts business, that attracts it just makes this vibrant, this whole state vibrant. So here's the three-tiered approach. Universally available basic health services, very critical. Broadly targeted interventions for children in poverty. Right? We don't have money for everybody, but we can recognize those that are at greatest risk, and we have to do something about it. And narrowly targeted specialized services for children experiencing tolerable or toxic stress. Tolerable stress becomes toxic if we don't provide support programs. Toxic stress is toxic stress. And if we don't think we're going to pay later, we're all fooling ourselves. We know that, and you know that. And when I go and visit legislators, I tell them that. And they get it, maybe just for the moment. I don't know, maybe you have to hit them over the head 40 or 50 times. But they're going to get the message, believe me. Things are changing, and they're recognizing that there's a science behind what all of us have been talking about. So I want to thank Jerry and Janice and everybody for inviting me here. Thanks for paying attention, not falling asleep after that meal. And I think I went 3 minutes over.
No, you're right on.
I'm right on time. Give me another hand for that.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.